Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm.
Good evening, Steelers Nation, and welcome to my favorite month, March Madness, baby, NFL style, because this is when it's getting ready to get crazy. New season ends, beginning, ends, old, out, in, new, whatever, the whole thing. It's just going to be mind-blowing. And, of course, then there's the Pittsburgh Steelers who just usually sit on the park bench with a bag of popcorn, feeding the pigeons. But before we get into that, I want to introduce my band of merry men today. We're going to start in PA today with CJ. What are you up to?
Not much. Conference tournaments for NCAA basketball has kicked off. Been just kind of hanging out, watching those. Tournament starts next week. We got some roster cuts coming. The World Baseball Classics in full swing now. Great time to be alive. Oh, and we're getting a snowstorm in mid-March.
What are you telling me? Spring is in the air.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can feel it everywhere.
Yep, spring is in the air, baby. 6 inches of snow coming. What better way to kick it off?
Well, you want to know what snow doesn't stop, CJ?
What doesn't it stop?
The man out of Ohio, Freight Train.
TA and CJ, what is happening, my guys? This freight train is going to blast right through that atmospheric stream and hopefully bring back some warmer temperatures that we were used to, and now we're getting shell-shocked with this nastiness. But TA, are you back home? I mean, you seem to be all over the country these past few weeks. Now, I got to ask you this question. Can you at the flip of a switch change your way of talking to match the people that are at the places that you're visiting? Are you like bilingual in the United States?
Como está usted? Muy bien. SA.
Right. And you got all the twangs. You got all the twangs down. You know, from Boston, and then you go down to the Caribbeans.
Absolutely. You know, because just a couple weeks ago, I was up in Boston, and we were talking up in Boston, and I had a problem with my car. So, you know, the boys, they gave me a handout. You know, I got to talk to the boys in the blue. You know, they gave me a little handout. So you know, we can. You know, you got to give me a minute here to go ahead and flip the switch. It takes about 30 seconds, not as quick as I used to be, but absolutely. I just got done from Texas. So if you hear me say y'all or hoo-ha or whatever down there, because, you know, they're all down there, chew back, I spit. You know, had my shit kickers on. We were ready to rock and roll, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, next week, man, I got to get my bling on for next week, baby. It's Vegas. Ooh. Come on, Papa needs a new pair of shoes, baby. New pair of shoes. But speaking of new shoes, guys, we got a hell of a show tonight because last week, as you know, we kind of wrapped up the combine, and we know that there's a few players that need a new pair of shoes out there after some of the things that they put out. We also want to go ahead and we're going to see about should we stay or should we go now? Stick around. You're going to find out what that actually means. And then most importantly, who do we really need for help? We're going to, of course, give a few little shout outs and plugs to our listeners. And then most importantly, we're going to talk about some off-season news. So without any further ado, guys, let's just jump right into this, man, because everything's getting crazy now. We're right there at that cusp. So we just come out of combines. Everybody's now sitting down in a bunker. We're worried about now who's leaving on March 15th. We've got the franchise tags out at this present time and moment throughout the league. You know, it's rumor mill galore. I mean, I even seen Tom Brady's coming back out of retirement to go to the Dolphins because that was the big news in the combine. This is the kind of craziness that happens here in March Madness, NFL style, baby. This ain't the Great Pumpkin Chase. This is football. So, Let's
TA,
talk about the combine.
You must have missed the Tom Brady news. He adopted 2 cats. He is not coming back. That is official. 2 cats.
Tom got 2 cats.
2 kitties.
Oh, fuzzy and furry?
Something like that. I
Fluffy
think they're
and funny?
Yeah, close enough.
Dead and deader?
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not
with his
yet?
type of money, he might got one of them bald cats.
Oh, man. Okay, I know this is a Steelers show, but I got to ask something. Really? I mean, who would want to pet a bald cat? I'd like having a bald chicken running around.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I want to have a bald chicken, let alone be like a snake type deal. And it just doesn't, come on now. Why do we got to mess with genetics?
TA beats me. I mean, what this world has come to. I would put clothes on. I'd dress it up in characters, you know. One day it's, Kenny Pickett. The next day it's Superman, and, dress it up that way. Dress it up like you in some blue overalls.
Make him look like Wile E. Coyote, huh?
Yeah. Why not? Play dress up with it.
Play dress up with the kitty. All right. It's not the kind of dress up I like to play with my kitty, but hey, we're gonna go with it. All right, guys. So combine thoughts now. Anybody stick out, man, on the radar? Did we come to a final decision right now as we stand here in early March? What we're going to do with that first pick? Are we going to trade up? We going to trade down? We got our eyes set on anybody? What are you guys thinking?
I want to touch on something that is not going to be a Steeler. The Anthony Richardson hype. He runs fast. He can jump high. He's got a hell of a long jump, and he can throw it far. But he can't hit the broadside of a freaking barn.
Yeah.
But he's going to be the number 1 pick.
He's got big hands. Was he standing in front of it?
At Florida, he was, and he could throw screen pass.
Yeah.
But he's going to be the number 1 pick. Unbelievable.
Do you really? Or do you think the NFL's basing that basically solely 100% on his 40 time? I mean, at a 4.43, or are we looking at the next Lamar Jackson here?
He's Lamar Jackson with unbelievable arm strength and Tom Brady's smarts. I heard he could read a defense like no one else, even though he throws it in the quadruple coverage at college. This guy's the greatest thing since sliced bread, other than his actual.
He's like Malik Willis of last year for this combine. All the hype Malik Willis got last year just to turn around and be what, a 3rd round draft pick? After they said he's a can't miss quarterback.
He's can't miss, man. And by can't miss, I mean he can't miss the guy in the 3rd row anytime he throws a deep ball. Unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
But that's enough AR-15 talk. I've had enough of that. There was one guy that stood out. We talked about him a little earlier in the year during season. Nolan Smith out of Georgia. I don't know if you guys remember as listeners, he had the torn pec. He missed some significant time. He comes out as an edge rusher. He ran a 4.39 as a linebacker. He's got the size, he's got the height, and he comes out, runs a 4.39. He's going to be right there if the Steelers want another edge rusher. There's talks that he could also play middle linebacker. And with his quickness, that's something that would definitely fit right into the Steelers system.
Do you think that he's worth it at that pick? Or do you think he's a number 2 all day long?
I think he is a guy that if he's there at 17, you think about it, if one of the O-line prospects that they want, if we think they want them, isn't there, it would turn into him or one of the corners, is my guess.
All right. All right. So Freight Train, what stuck out for you, buddy?
I was also looking at the linebackers myself and a little bit of the cornerbacks. And I really like the guy out of Maryland, Deontay Banks. I thought he had a really good.
Wait, stop. Maryland, really? What are you doing Thanksgiving over at the Tomlin household? Are you on the Maryland bus now? Is this what it is? Is this
eventually
like
we have to hit on one of them? We have to hit on one of them.
So you're sticking behind our man Tomlin that Maryland's it. Sooner or later we're going to hit. Okay, go
Yes,
ahead. I didn't want to
sooner or
interrupt.
later.
I just want to make sure we clarified.
Hey, you know what? One of these times, Tom's going to hit, and guess who sided with him on the show? It'll be all me, and I will take all the credit for it.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
But he had a really good vertical jump at 42, the broad jump at 11.4, and he ran a 4.35. Was pretty fluid on there, out on the field. He looked good. And then the other one that I was looking forward to seeing was my guy out of Ohio State, and DeJuan Jones, who didn't really participate much in the drills, but they did take his hand size and his arm size, and they were out of the roof. And I'm excited for his pro day because I think he's a diamond in the rough for the offensive line that we should really, really consider drafting because he's an absolute road grader of what this team needs.
I tell you what, I definitely love Big Ten corners. You know, they usually face guys that can't throw a forward pass unless they're playing Ohio State. You know, they definitely got the tape. That's why Iowa throws so many corners out there. Wisconsin, oh baby. I don't hate Banks. I think he'd be an interesting day 2 guy. Obviously, we've talked about Joey Porter enough. I thought he ran a good enough 40 time. He's interesting to me just based on his size that he measured in. He's got the pedigree. It's definitely a deep corner draft. You got Porter, you got Gonzalez out of Oregon, who's also 6'2 and a half. And you got a guy by the name of Cam Smith out of South Carolina, who's a little smaller, and that seems right up Tomlin's alley.
But do you realistically think if Joey Porter Jr. is out of reach, do you realistically think that we should use one of our first 2 picks on a cornerback?
Absolutely not. I could see using
right.
32 on a corner.
All right, so just off the cusp right now between you two, what are you two looking at us to target for that number 1 spot? Right now, I know, look, we all know this is very dynamic at this time. We're going to see players go up. We're going to see players go down. We're going to see players go sideways. Something terrible is going to happen, yet there's going to be some bad news about somebody that's going to come out because this is that time of the year. But as we sit here today, 6 days before the start of the NFL season, what are you guys targeting as our first pick?
I'm going O-line. I think it's going to be an offensive lineman, hands down. And Omar Khan even came out and somewhat said that he wouldn't be afraid of trading up, which means he's not afraid of going out and getting the best offensive lineman in the draft. I think it's the most glaring need on this team besides middle linebacker. So I would definitely go with the road grader with our first pick.
I know it's boring to agree with you, but I'm looking at O lineman. If one of the 3 top tackles are available, they got to run that card up there and take them. If not, that's where things get interesting. Moving back, taking a corner, so on and so forth.
All right, so I'm kind of in agreement with you guys. I think our first pick definitely needs to be in the trenches. I think we can all agree that that was probably our most glaring need last year, but yet we haven't seen what's going to happen with should I stay or should we go now. So I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I do have to throw one name out there. Do we go ahead and do what we did and have a repeat of last year and just stay right there in the home of Acrisure and go with Mr. Cansey with the first pick?
I don't think so because of the defensive system they run in kind of that 3-4 scheme. He's definitely not a 3-4 guy based on his size. Now, if they were ever to want to go to a 4-3, I think this would be an interesting pick. He had a great combine. He was an All-American, unanimous All-American in college. Heck of a player. I just don't see him as a fit for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's certainly some better options in the free agency market that we'll get into to fill in that defensive line to not take a risk on somebody that's not used to playing this kind of scheme. And I think they need to really utilize this draft and getting younger in that, linebacker core that is absolutely decimated at the point right now.
Now, I'm going to throw something out here to you guys because one thing the Steelers are very good at, just because when they played one position in college, doesn't necessarily mean it transfers to the Steelers. What would you guys think if Cansey lined up as another old Steeler at 6'1", right smack dab there in the center as nose tackle?
It would definitely be interesting. But the difference is old Snacks had about 100 pounds on him.
Right.
Well, he does come in about 281. Snack was only about 301. I mean, so 20 pounds isn't that far off. I mean, he could probably put an additional 10 pounds on, 15 at the most, and still play at an ideal rate. Question is does he have the skills and the moves to be able to soak up a double team and get off of it?
Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things that I don't like to take a chance on in the first round. Does this translate into a new
No.
position? Now, if he's sitting there at 32 or 40, I think it's a no-brainer if you want to take that risk based on the tape, based on his athleticism.
All right, fair enough. And with that said, CJ, why don't you go ahead and give our fans the first plug of the night? Because this is what everybody tunes in for, is our plugs.
We're going to plug it, baby. Just like old Snacks plugged the hole. You guys go to our website, SteelersRealm.com. You can see all of our past episodes, all of our upcoming episodes, tons of information there. We got links to all of our YouTubes. If you want to rewatch us in all of our glory, if you miss us, you can get down there. You can download it. You're hopping on a flight, want to get caught up, go do it. Check us out at SteelersRealm.com. Tons of good stuff there, guys. Tons.
And fans, just to let you know, that was just a teaser of what we're going to start talking about now as the weeks come down. Because as I said, March Madness begins. We are going to talk and break down football to the inch degree. But before we can do that, we got to know one thing, guys. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
Should we stay or should we go now? Dun, 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 dun. If we stay, it will be trouble. Oh, yeah. Because at this present time and moment, we have to look at some cap casualties and some inside and some in-house free agents, man, coming up right now. So we're going to do just like a speed round, 15-second dating game. Are you ready? I'm going to fire off a name. CJ, stay, go, and then boom, freight train, stay, go, and then we're going to the next one. Are we ready? Lightning round. Here we go.
Okay.
Mason Rudolph, stay or go?
Go.
Go.
I think he should stay.
Here we go.
Here we go. I'm just kidding. Rudolph, get on that sleigh, buddy. Let that nose shine bright and go find a new future. All right. Mitch Trubisky, stay or go?
Go.
Oh, go ahead there, Freight Train.
I say stay at a restructured contract.
Why would he? Why, though? Why would Mitch Trubisky restructure his contract?
Because he knows. He knows he doesn't have it anymore. But he can be a quality backup. He came in and won us a game. I think he's a quality backup, and he seems to be a very, very good teammate. Took the captain patch to heart, played captain. I think he's a good fit for that backup role.
So now here's the question. All right. So now I got to ask this because I'm a little bit on the fence on this one here too, as well. My heart tells me this could potentially be our next Charlie Batch. And I'd love to lock him up for 5 years, restructure the contract, and let him roll. The question is, does Mitch still feel he is a caliber starting quarterback? And as we've discussed many times on this show, there are 32 teams looking for a franchise quarterback. Do we have more value in him trading him instead of just releasing him? And if we have to release him, then he stays.
It's from a cap perspective, just cut him. Saves $8 million if they trade him. They're on the hook for the full 10. Because of his signing bonus.
But again, you got to look at that. In all reality, all we're going to get out of that is $3 million because we still have to
8.
sign another backup. No.
Oh yeah.
Because out of that $8 million, you're going to have to spend 5 at least on a quality backup quarterback. So that really gives us only $3 million to play with. Is that $3 million really worth it for the backup quarterbacks that are on the market today, or do you swallow that, keep Mitch, say, buddy, you're stuck. Thank you for putting the ink. It's already dried, and we've got it in the safety deposit box. Call your lawyer.
$3 million. Give me the $3 million to spend elsewhere.
Yeah. I don't
Because
think we're
that
going
3
to
million.
get good quality with that 5. Not quality like Mitchell. Who are you going to go out and get for $5 million come back up that you'll feel comfortable because they're only one injury away from playing the rest of the season?
Case Keenum.
Casey Keenum. The hits keep coming. All right. Moving on. All right, Frank Triner, you ready for this here round?
I think so.
All right, ready. Miles Jack, stay or go?
Definitely staying. 100%.
Stan.
Staying. Now, see, I could go ahead and let Miles Jack go, save my money, and go pick me up somebody who's a little bit better on that free agent market because there's some quality out there, guys. So, next one, Robert Spillane, stay or go?
Gone. See ya. Bye-bye.
Stay. Depth piece. Nothing more, nothing less. He's cheap.
Well, he's going to be cheap because we will go ahead and let him go. We'll let him dip his toe into free agency. And at the end of the day, when he's standing there by the bargain basket on the checkout, we'll just tell him jump on in the back. We'll see him at camp and let's ride again, Spillane. Thanks for playing. All right, moving on. Gunner, Oskalaskalaskalaskalaskalaskafi. CJ, stay or go?
Go. Cap cut. They saved $2 million.
Yep. Gone. Calvin Austin's going to be back. He has no job.
And are you ready for this, Steeler Nation? I agree. See you, Gunner. You're out of here.
That might be the first
Sims.
time you've ever agreed with me.
Steven Sims, Freight Train, stay or go?
Stay.
I hope he
CJ?
stays. He's a free agent. It'll be an interesting one because I think he has value out there specifically as a return man.
Yeah, I thought this one's a little bit crazy. I think that he's going to be offered silly money for what he was able to show he could do with the Steelers last year. I think he wants to stay, but he's going to take the money and run. However, we've got a guy who we're kind of excited about last year, but we didn't get to see him do the injury reserve report. Anthony Miller, staying or going?
Stan, cheap, huge upside. If he sucks in camp, he can be cut, and it's all non-guaranteed money.
I think he's going. I think we'll fill that with somebody else in the draft, maybe a later round wide receiver. I think he's gone. Too injury prone.
Well, I think he's definitely going to end up staying. He might be a camp cut, but he'll definitely be there because we've got Calvin Austin. We've got to see if he can make it through a camp. And there's another guy out there that we haven't talked about because he is a free agent, and that is Boykins. And he was huge for us last year on the special teams. That's going to be a vacuum we still need to backfill. Not sure Anthony or Antonio or can go ahead and do it, but now here's a guy. Stay or go, CJ. Hakilio Witherspoon.
Gonzo, go. $4 million savings with cut. What did he do last year? Nothing.
Yeah, he was trash. Go.
Yeah.
See you later.
Not to drag this. Go ahead.
I'm with you guys too. He can go ahead and hit the bricks.
I want to add
Send him
another
on down
one
the
too,
line.
because they have the same exact contract. Levi Wallace.
Stay. I like Levi.
Stay. I like Levi too.
I agree with that.
Yep. Keep Levi because, depending on what happens with the next guy, where I'm going to throw out there, Cam Sutton, stay or go.
I 100% hope he stays.
I hope he stays too. That contract's going to be interesting, though.
Mm-hmm.
They're projecting right around $9.5 to $10 million a year.
And quite honestly, I think the kid does go ahead and deserve it. I'd like to see him here, along with another gentleman I'd like to see. Your favorite quarterback and mine, Zach Gentry. Staying or going?
Stay. Great blocker. He fills a huge role.
Depends on how much he asks. I want him to stay, but this draft also is very, very deep in tight ends. We could easily replace him.
Oh, heck
You know
yeah.
what? That I'm not gonna lie there. It's hard to believe when you watch him play that he was actually a quarterback, because he's a beast as far as the tight end goes. I'm afraid we've got a Jesse James here on our hand, where a Detroit Tigers or an Atlanta Falcons is going to come in and offer him like silly, stupid money that he's going to go down to a different system. He's going to play for a year and a half, and they're going to end up cutting him. And for what? When he could have probably took less meat, stayed with the Steelers, and been an integral part in this offense.
Mm-hmm. And
All right.
with the emergence of Connor last year, who even knows really how much playing time he's going to get anyways?
Well, that's another tricky situation that we're going to have to break down, because I think that that's an element with Connor's running ability, his hands, his ability to find the open hole in the defense. I hope that somebody is paying attention on how you utilize him and don't necessarily put a tag on him. Is he a running back? Is he an H-back? Is he a tight end, halfback, fullback? Somebody needs to make special packages in place for him, even if it is a decoy from time to time.
He's the Mike Tomlin Swiss Army knife.
Tell you what, and if I tell you what, guys, if there's anyone that can find someone's strengths and utilize them, it's Matt freaking Canada. He's
TJ, we went a whole show without Matt Canada even coming up, and now all of a sudden you're back after a 1-week hiatus, and Matt Canada comes up into the conversation within 27 minutes of the show.
I'm just saying, man, if there's a guy that can go out there and utilize talent and really get all of it, it's Matt freaking Canada, baby. There's a reason they named our freaking country after the guy.
Yeah.
All right. Freight train, you smell that? I think it's starting to get deep here. We might need to head to higher grounds, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Hit the hills.
Hit the hills. All right. Next guy, Kamikaze Kazi DeMonte. Staying or leaving?
Staying. Integral part after he got back after that injury.
Yes, please stay.
Please stay. Now,
Please
here's the
stay.
thing now. If I'm not mistaken, where is Mr. Terrell Edmonds in on this? Isn't he also a restricted free agent this year?
I want to use him as a bargaining chip, though.
To get Termaine, or are
Yes.
you one of those ones that are on that Kool-Aid bus?
I want that
We
Kool-Aid.
need another set of dual brothers.
Yes, 100%. But let's not leak it out yet. That's in another segment. But yes, I want to keep him as the bargaining chip.
All right. So everybody thinks Kazi needs to stay. I think Kazi needs to stay. I'm just more concerned of what's going to go with the Edmond brothers. And if Mama Edmonds is out there listening, you've done a great job raising them boys. I know they've already set you up in a house with 3 cars, a diamond necklace, swimming pool in the back, and great barbecues on Sunday. It'd be nice for you to go watch both boys play on the same team in the same stadium to wind out their career. Have them take a little less money. You're going to be all right. Proper investment and planning. What do you guys think?
Couldn't agree more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you know what that sounds like? There's no sound mind thinking behind that in this greedy world that we live in. You understand this now, guys? We're speaking straight from the heart now. This is fandom here.
Yes.
We might as well just all have boy crushes on the Edmond brothers. Them and the Watts, I can see it now. Edmonds and Watts on our walls, and we're just giving them the fandom, What was like Leif Erikson, or who's in the day's age, CJ? Who's that? Who's those pop stars right now that's hanging in a 16-year-old's room right now?
Oh, Justin Bieber, baby. The Bieber believers. Bieber fever.
I think you're a decade too late on that buzz.
Oh, Call me old.
Yeah. It'll resonate with our listeners. Close enough. We'll take it.
All right, we'll take it. All right. And then last but not least, the one, the only Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's gone.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think he proved himself, stayed generally healthy. I think he's going to go get a better deal elsewhere, so he's probably gone.
All right. So
maybe he'll go to the Ravens and he'll play for all the AFC North teams.
So before I give you mine, I do have to ask, as we already know, there's two other guys along that defensive line that may not be back. So if he's gone, who's staying?
Montravius Adams. He will come back.
I
He'll be
think
back.
Wormley. They're going to have
right.
to make a choice. They'll have to make a choice between Wormley and Ogunjobi. Wormley's cheaper. He's younger. It's a very interesting conundrum. Ogunjobi's going to get paid. I know we don't like to hear that, but he is. I mean, he was supposed to get paid by the Bears last year up until he failed that physical.
All right, so he's done enough to get paid, and the Ravens are ready to go ahead and let him just round out the AFC North, and we're going to get to see him twice a year next year anyways. Is that what we're saying?
More than likely, that's the stupid stuff that will happen.
Well, you know, CJ, I'm not necessarily sold on Wormley right now. And yes, there is some upside. You know, he has gotten better as the years have progressed, but out of 3 years in our
Has he
system,
really though?
well, this
Has
is
he
where
really?
I'm coming. This is where I'm coming from. Out of 3 years in the system, I don't personally feel that he's where he needs to be. Now, he could be a late bloomer, and the best is yet to come. But if I was
He's already bloomed.
He's already bloomed.
He's a full bloomed flower, and this is what he is.
Well, I
no
have
more, no less.
This is where we start to wilt.
Yeah, it's starting to wilt. It's time to move on.
I want to throw another name out there. Leal. They moved him around a lot last year and asked a lot for a rookie who really played interior only on the D line up until last year. I think he's ready to party, baby.
We still have
I think they have
Loudermilk.
big plans. Oh, Jesus.
Hey, TA wants to talk about late bloomers. I believe in Loudermilk late blooming more than I do Wormley that's already full bloom.
Last time I know is milk spoils, baby.
Yeah, but you know what? Loudermilk kind of reminds me a little bit of the same path that number 99 took in his career. And nobody said he would go ahead and be on this defense, Mr. Brett Kiesel. So I kind of like to where Loudermilk is at right now. This is going to be the year to judge him. And I'm going to have to go ahead and say OG1 Kenobi, he gone. He gone. I think we're going to go ahead and pick up a DT in the draft, and we need to infuse a little bit of youth and not necessarily stick around with the old.
All right, on to my segment for you two.
Would
you do it? Would you do it?
What am I going to do?
First one up. Yeah, here we go, baby.
Am I staying going? Would I do it?
Would you do it? Would you trade for DeAndre Hopkins? It's recently been in the news that he's ready to get the hell out of Arizona. He's fed up. His agent's working the phone lines. He's got permission to talk to other teams. Would you do it for a second-round pick, number 40?
Nay. And here's the reason why. We already have too many weapons on this team right now that your love affair with Canada cannot figure out how to utilize. And now we're going to bring in DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, this will be a total and utter meltdown with Deontay. And then you just had Georgie Porgy who's coming along. No, this is a nay. And I want my second round. I like the fact we have 3 picks within the top 50.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as TA. We're sailing together.
We're paddling together, baby. Here we go.
Yep.
Upstream,
I just
Schitt's Creek.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, but I understand your guys' trepidations in giving Matt Canada too many weapons to keep the league.
Dude, he'd
safe.
pass out. He
Wait a
would
second,
pass out.
Trepidation. Do you think any one of our listeners know what that word means?
Yes, we have one of
Okay.
the highest educated fan bases in America.
All right,
We're up
all
there.
right.
We're up there with the Harvards of college football.
Yep.
Next up,
We're an Ivy League podcast now. I like it.
Yeah.
Woo! Graduating.
I'm more like a Zach Wilson at BYU.
just
All
mill
right.
fun, huh?
Yeah.
All right. All right. The Vikings just cut longtime linebacker Eric Hendricks. Very good career. Reading between the lines, it's kind of a respect. They didn't have the money to pay him. They wanted to give him a chance to go out and find a new team as soon as possible. Would you do it, Freight Train? Would you sign him?
Yes. Yes, I would. I think he's going to be a little bit too expensive for us, but I would 100% do that. He's a good linebacker, good in coverage, and that's exactly what we need. We need a linebacker that can cover.
Freight Train? Yeah, Freight Train. TA.
I'm going to say nay at this present time. And the reason I'm saying nay is there's some insider information that I have right now that there's another inside linebacker that may become available. And if he does, I don't care if we get rid of that second pick. We have to go get him. And that is Mr. Devin White.
That would be interesting, and I would do that in a heartbeat.
We'd finally get the right Devin.
We'd finally get the right Devin. Exactly right. Exactly right. We'll be right with White in the Devin department.
Yes.
All right. Would you? Orlando Brown Jr., tackle for the Chiefs. He originally started out with the Ravens. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. The Chiefs can't afford him. They didn't franchise tag him, and he's set to become a free agent next Wednesday. Would you bring him in and pay him big money to solidify this offensive line?
Nay. Look, he's nowhere in his daddy's shoes. He's already been bounced twice. He is just going to be a gun for hire. He is not a long-time solution, and I don't think he's going to have the longevity that his dad had. So at this point in time, nay. I'd rather get one of the road grader studs that we talked about earlier than to go with a guy who's just a gun for hire.
Dude, I hate it when you talk before me because you always have to steal my thunder and my takes before I get a chance to bring them out.
And you want to know why that is? Because I love to hear you say, I agree with you, TA.
Wow, you couldn't come up with, wow, great minds really do think alike.
You know what? That is more politically correct. You know
Okay.
why? You know why? Because great minds think alike.
Thank you. But yes, I am also obviously a nay on this one. I think we could get an Orlando Brown at a better price and at a younger age with our first pick in this draft. Possibly better.
Why not have both?
There
Why
ain't no
not?
way.
I mean, first off, he's only 26. He's been a Pro Bowler every year that he's played in the NFL.
So who
He's a
exactly
known
are we getting
commodity.
rid of to afford these contracts?
Well, first off, they can clear $13 million by cutting William Jackson. William Jackson that they picked up from the Redskins.
The third. Don't forget the third.
Sorry. I don't want to miss.
Right. Don't be improper.
I mean, there's 13 million right there.
Mm.
So I'm all in on it. Do it. If just do it. Just do it.
CJ says he's going Nike. He's just doing it.
Just do it.
baby.
I would do it.
Do it. Do
All right.
it.
Next, would you bring back Javon Hargraves?
100%. I can't say it quick enough.
Oh,
I want
hold
Javon.
on. No, done. Stop. You don't want to pay. You don't want to
Yes.
pay
100%.
an all-pro. You don't want to pay an all-pro lineman who's a road grader. But you want to pay Javon Hargraves?
I need that middle plugged up. We're talking. How many times a year do we bring up that how much we miss the defense when we had big snacks in there? This is him staring us right back in the face and bringing him back.
Unbelievable. Let's spend more money on the defense. We'll just roll out a bunch of underpaid.
We'll shut everybody out. Who cares what the offense puts up? He ain't giving up any points.
2023. You got to score. You got to be able to score.
No.
So what you tell that to Canada?
We'll score on defense. That's what we did last year.
TA.
Well, I'm going to have to say nay. Again, it's time to just get young. And here's the other thing that you've got to look at. Omar now has to start looking at 5 years out. We are now going into the second year of Kenny's contract. So we know we've got him on the cheap for 3 more years. If we start spending too much money now and we have success, it's only going to hurt our continued development of Kenny down the road. I'd rather get younger now in the front and let these kids kind of grow and start spreading those contracts out year after year after year and continue in the same mold and fashion that we are. So even
you guys
though
are acting like
Javon, no. You got to think business wise. Remember,
you're acting like he's like Ted Washington 20 years later. I mean, good Lord, he's not even that old.
You know who's signing Javon Hargraves?
We are.
Not us. So let's move on. But
he's going to look good. He's going to look good in red. Kansas City Chiefs, here I come.
Nah, they have no money. I'm going to go with Washington Commanders.
Oh, okay. The Commanders. I like it.
Because they're a well-run franchise, and I know anytime you get a chance, and they've done it before, anytime you get a chance to sign a 30-year-old defensive lineman, you just do it every time.
And they also have one of the best defensive lines in football.
Yeah, but they're still the Commanders.
They still have one of the best defensive lines in football. Wouldn't you like to have that?
No, I would like to have an offensive line that can block someone. A left tackle.
We're doing that in the draft. This is free agency.
Okay. Well, hey, it'd be nice to plug a hole before the draft. Then you could make easier decisions. Next up, our old friend Bud Dupree was a cap casualty for the Tennessee Titans, who are currently in the process of burning it all down. Would you bring back Bud Dupree on a 1-year cheap deal as a outside linebacker, depth pass rusher?
I got the buzzard in first this time. That's a 100% yes. And here's the reason why. Let him come back as a backup. Whatever he's been dealing with the last 2 years for his ACL, he's not going to be starting material. He'll be lucky if he even gets a backup job on another team. He's got the one thing going for him. He knows the system. And to come in and spell TJ and or Highsmith, periodically throughout the game, he's more than worth bringing back because he's never going to be as good as he was 2 years ago. And it took him 5 years to get there. We want to talk about late bloomers and wilting. This one here has been overwatered.
I say nay. I don't. First of all, I think he's going to get a starting job because there's teams out there that are starving for outside pass rushers. There's one right in our backyard, the Cleveland Browns, who don't have any outside linebackers that can pass rush. They could easily get Bud Dupree and start on their defense tomorrow.
Wait a second. Now you're talking a completely different defense. Now you're talking about a 4-3. I don't see Bud Dupree as a 4-3 linebacker. Not an outside linebacker. It isn't in him. Doesn't have it. Nay, nix. He's 3-4 material only.
I would bring him back. Cheap 1-year deal, incentive laden. I mean, the guy's never done a damn thing in his career without TJ on the opposite side. So why not rekindle some magic for him? And plus, Highsmith is also a restricted free agent this year. Just kind of something to think about there. And that's all we got.
So something to think about before we get into it. It is that time for us to go with Freight Train History Forged in Steel, baby.
You got to play the intro. JT screwed me on the intro last week.
Before we do, we're going to have a little twist. You just hold on to your britches.
Sorry.
I want you to go ahead and give us a little Builder Bros plug And right there at the end, let's bring in that intro for you, buddy. Let's roll it out properly. Give you the due respect you deserve.
All right, here we go. Let's get everybody get on the train, the Builder Bros train. History and Forged and Steel is brought to you by Builder Bros. Builder Bros is a company with a vision to help those in need after Mother Nature creates havoc on your home. Do you have missing shingles? Do you have missing or damaged siding? Has water damaged the inside of your home as a result? Do you feel intimidated or bullied by the insurance companies and not sure how to, or if you should even file a claim? Well, Builder Bros is there to help turn your home back into everything you have ever dreamed of. Builder Bros has insurance claim specialists that work both for you and your insurance provider to help file your storm damage claim and maximize your policy to save you thousands of dollars. What are you going to do? Contact Builder Bros today and sit back and let them do the dirty work for you. To reach a specialist near you, go to builderbros.org. Don't get shingled out by your insurance, folks. builderbros.org. Kick it. There it is. All right, you guys ready for this? We're going a little March Madness style in Forged and Steel. So on April 3rd of 1993, the Steelers signed linebacker Kevin Green as a free agent. TA, you would remember this better than the two of us. Where would you put Kevin Green on the scale of one of the better free agent pickups for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, man, at the time, mid-90s, when he paired up with Lloyd, it was pretty remarkable. And, of course, you got to realize that was back during, hair bands, and he come in looking like a wild man. So I'm going to have to say he may go down as the best free agent pickup ever. The only sad part about it is we only had him for a couple of years. Would have loved to see him ride out as a Steeler.
Right, yeah.
Rest in peace, by the way, Mr. Green.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. And for those of you that don't know, Kevin Green is also a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So, next up, May 19th of 1933, TA. This will get you excited. The NFL granted Art Rooney's request for a football franchise to be called the Pittsburgh Pirates. And get this, guys, Rooney would go on to pay $2,500 for an entry fee for the team. What do you guys think that would be in today's world? $2.5 billion?
And now, it's time for Steelers Realms History Forged in
$500 million?
Sorry for the
I'll tell you
technical
what.
delay there.
I will let you know exactly how much that would be today.
What,
So,
you got your little calculator
I got the
there,
inflation
Calvin?
calculator right here, buddy. I think
wow.
it's built in.
Nice.
All right, let's see.
That would be equivalent to $58,000 roughly.
Wow.
Okay, so we're not even retaining the water boy.
No.
Unbelievable. And now it's worth billions and billions and billions. And they're still one of the most cheapest people in the NFL.
Right. Yep.
Now,
No return on investment.
But no, wait a minute. We hear that all the time, and I gotta defend that, man. I don't look at it that we're cheap. I look at it as we are very structured in what we do, and we get the most bang for our buck. That never puts this franchise in any jeopardy of going back to where they came from prior to 1970. They
I
learned
tell you
what
what.
they did then. And you look at all the NFL teams that have spent money, blown money. I mean, hey, money don't buy you champions. Just ask Jerry Jones.
No. No, it will not.
Or how about the Commanders?
I mean, come on. No one's saying that Mr. Snyder's serenading the Commanders in cash. He's the second cheapest, you know what, in the league.
Oh, he has become that now. But when he first came into the league, he was throwing money around to buy a championship like it was no tomorrow and never ever put the winning pieces together.
Mhm.
You can't buy it, you got to build it.
And now to wrap up History Forged in Steel. This goes hand in hand with the last one, July 8th of 1933. The Pirates would officially be recognized into the league as an official franchise. That was when it all became official.
All right. Well, now, with that said, let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. We're gonna do another little speed round here, some off-season news. But before we break into this, guys, I just kind of want to ask one question. Do you guys feel we have done the proper thing by not tagging anybody so far?
Absolutely. We have no one that
Mhm.
was worth
Yeah.
tagging.
There's nobody worthy of it.
All
Yeah.
right. So now that we're talking tags, the league is definitely not very high on the tag this year. We are only looking at Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Lamar Jackson, Josh Jacobs, and Darren Payne to round out the and Tony Pollard to round out the list of non-exclusive rights. Now, my question is, looking at them and who's been tagged, is there anybody off that list that says, yep, I can see it and I agree 100% with it?
I mean, they were all tagged for various different reasons. Tony Pollard, for example, Zeke's spent, he's cooked. And the Cowboys are going to set a record for most money ever paid to running backs in a single season, which
Mhm.
is rather impressive
Yeah.
for a position that shouldn't be paid like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with the Lamar situation, it's just the Ravens playing hardball with him. It really is.
This Lamar situation's crazy to me.
Well, before we get into that, I want to touch on one other thing. The thing that I find most interesting with all these tags is we have a total of 3 running backs, aka 4 running backs, who have been tagged. And this is coming from a league that has devalued the running back position in the draft. Now, all of a sudden, we feel that we need to tag these guys. Does anybody else seem that to be a little off balance to you guys?
It's genius. You don't have to give them long-term money. You get them pretty much for a rent a year at 10.1 million and maybe work out something cheaper or let them go the year after.
Essentially what we were going to do with Le'Veon Bell in a nutshell. Pay him the tag, run the wheels off of him. When he's done, we'll just throw him to the curb.
Now, it'll
All
be
right.
curious to see how many of those running backs actually play under the tag.
Do you think out of that list we have anybody who is getting ready to pull a Le'Veon Bell?
No one's that dumb. No one is that dumb.
With the running backs or
Just
everybody in a
that,
whole?
everybody on that list. Anybody
100% Lamar
Bell.
Jackson. 100% Lamar Jackson. I don't
I'm
doubt it one bit.
I'm almost
And
gonna
honestly,
have-
I don't blame him because I'm about to go into a hot take. So I
Let
guess
it
I'll
rip,
go on
baby.
in a minute.
Yeah, tell
Let
us
it
about
rip.
it because I mean I happen to agree with you, but I want to hear what your hot take is.
There is something very, very fishy going on with the Lamar Jackson situation that is about to explode. That there's been reports of about 5 teams that have already taken their names out of the running to even offer or call Lamar to offer him a contract. And you know why that is? Is because all the owners are getting together and going up against Jimmy Haslam, going up against the president and guaranteeing $230 million and screwing his own franchise over at one position. The owners are getting together to lower that cap hit. They are not wanting to throw this kind of guaranteed money at these players.
Can I offer a different way to look at it? Lamar doesn't have an agent. You know who's negotiating for him, guys?
Himself.
Lamar.
His mom.
His mom's doing it.
His mom is doing it. I was listening to an interesting interview where they kind of talked about the different things that she should be doing right now, as if she was actually an agent or representative of him. What should be happening right now is he should be negotiating with all those other teams.
They
And
don't
those other
want to.
teams, oh bullshit. You
They-
know damn
They
well they're
literally
going
came
to.
out and said it. See,
I know
Washington,
when
I'm out. Atlanta, I'm out.
Yeah,
Carolina,
'cause-
I'm out. Really? You think, Washington, you think Sam Howell is better than Lamar Jackson?
Do you think that they're just going to say,
You think Sam
hey,
Darnold is
hold
better
on,
than
hold
Lamar
on,
Jackson?
hold on. You think an NFL team's just going to come out and tell everyone their plans? Look how
They're
secretive they
legally
are.
allowed to.
Yeah, why would they though? You know dang well Atlanta was in on Deshaun Watson hard. They're going in on Lamar hard. Why would they say, hey, we're interested? Hey, we're interested.
Because of
get
the
worked
Deshaun
out.
Watson contract. Because Lamar wants
no,
something
no.
along the same lines.
Yeah, he wants
Guaranteed.
something
They're
along
the same.
same
They're
lines.
essentially the same type of player.
No, Deshaun
Why shouldn't
Watson's
he
way
ask
better.
for it?
Deshaun Watson's way better.
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa.
Stop.
Is Deshaun
First of
Watson
all-
not a better thrower of the football?
Does Deshaun Watson have an MVP award?
I mean, yeah.
Deshaun
When?
Watson did not elevate the Houston Texans. His wide receiver elevated the Houston Texans. That money that Hazlitt gave to him was silly money. And I agree. We cannot reset this. We cannot reset the cap on quarterbacks. This is going to be an interesting situation that plays out. And it would not surprise me if Lamar Jackson is on the sideline this year, not playing football, because he is not going to be able to have any type of longevity as long as he continues to run the ball. And the NFL cannot afford to reset that. As you've already stated in this program today, we need to have money for other players. Giving it all to the quarterback, yeah, I mean, we're going to give them all the money and then put them in tutus and wrap flags around them. This isn't football anymore.
Well,
This is
Cleveland already
filibuster.
has to restructure Deshaun Watson's contract a year later to even do anything.
Right. And so at the end of the day, I think Lamar ends up on the bench, and it's a Le'Veon Bell situation.
He'll
So,
play.
with that,
He'll play.
all right. With
Except
that-
against us.
They're going to
Except
get a
against
deal.
the Steelers twice a year.
They'll
Yeah.
get a deal done.
All right.
Someone
We're-
someone will submit a deal. My prediction right now: the Falcons will submit a deal, and the Ravens will match it.
And I think that they would be foolish to do that, knowing that they have Desmond Ritter down there and have not given that kid a chance to see what he's going to do.
They saw him. They saw him every day in practice,
Yeah,
and it was not
still-
pretty.
Look, you could say the same thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, and look, he went on to have a halfway decent career in San Francisco, and he's still being talked about as one of the top prospects since San Fran's going to let him go. I'm just not buying that yet. Now, here's one thing that I'm really having a hard time swallowing is that the Saints, who do need a quarterback, you're going to go get Derek Carr. You might as well pick up Lamar Jackson.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then Danny Dimes.
It's Danny Dollars now, baby.
Danny Dollars now signs the extension with the Giants. This was last year his way of finally making it over the hump, and now we're going to see him become that Pro Bowl player that everybody expected him to be 5 years ago.
TA, have you ever been at the casino and just lit a bunch of money on fire in like 30 minutes? Maybe an hour?
I watched it this last weekend, and you know what I'm going to get to watch next weekend? The same damn thing. I love it. It's like the greatest train wreck ever.
Well, that's what the Giants just signed up for, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all in agreement. So with that said, last but not least, since we already hit upon Deshaun, He gives it to the Texans once more. Houston loses a 5th round pick for a salary reporting violation by compensating Watson in the form of an alternative athletic facility. Now, does that seem a little vague to you?
It does seem extremely vague. What kind of athletic complex was this? Was there those types of tables that had the hole in them where you could put your head into it? Or is that the complex we're talking about?
I don't know, but
With
I
the
don't wanna-
hot towels and
there was no happy ending in that relationship. That's for sure.
All right. And with that, my friends, I'm going to bode you a farewell. It's been a pleasure tonight. Steelers Nation, tune in next week as it's starting to get crazy. Have a good evening, boys.
Yep. See you, Steelers Nation.
Steelers Nation, thanks for coming on the ride. I'll see you next time. Love you.
Check back next week into the Steelers Realm.